Welcome to our deep dive today into the fascinating world of textile product development. It's an exciting field where creativity meets science, right? Imagine designing anything, from high-tech sportswear to medical textiles. We're going to explore all of that and more today using some awesome resources from RoleCatcher. Their career guides and interview resources are going to help you absolutely nail that interview for a textile product developer role.
Yeah, it's a field that's constantly changing, growing and evolving. I mean, think about it. Innovations that could change industries, from fashion to healthcare, even aerospace.
Okay, so let's break down today's deep dive. We're going to focus on understanding the role itself, and then this is going to be the meat of our conversation. We're tackling some common interview questions, and then finally we'll touch on how RoleCatcher's AI can give you like an extra edge in your prep. Ready?
Yeah, let's dive in.
Okay, let's start by painting a picture of what a textile product developer actually does.
So, it's a blend of creative vision and technical knowledge. You're selecting the perfect yarn for a new fabric, developing a coating that repels stains. It's fascinating stuff.
So it's not just about designing pretty fabric.
No, not at all. It's about the science behind the fibers. It's about weaving and knitting, the properties of dyes and finishes, and it all comes together to create textiles that meet specific needs and perform perfectly.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's get to those interview questions, the ones that really make a difference. RoleCatcher has provided some real gems, things that are frequently asked in textile product developer interviews.
And we're going to spend a good chunk of our time figuring out how to answer them, how to craft those winning responses.
Okay, sounds good. Let's start with number one. The question is, can you walk me through your experience in textile product development?
Okay.
It seems pretty simple, but I bet there's a lot more to it.
Definitely. This is your chance to really tell your story, your journey in textile product development. They want to see what you've done, the specific projects you've worked on, and the skills you've developed. It kind of sets the stage for the rest of the interview.
So how should we approach this question in a way that really grabs their attention?
I'd recommend structure. Chronological order, starting with your earliest experience, highlighting key milestones or projects, and showcasing how you've grown. Don't just list your jobs. Focus on what you did, the results you got.
Oh, okay. So instead of saying like, I was a textile designer at Company X, I would say something like, at Company X, I led the design and development of a new line of performance fabrics, which resulted in a 20% boost in sales.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of measurable impact makes your experience concrete and they'll remember it.
Okay. And then this question is probably going to be follow up with deeper questions about specific projects or skills.
Right. They might ask you to go into detail about a specific project, the challenges you faced, what you learned, or about your experience with specific materials or methods. It's about showing that you know your stuff.
Oh, okay. So we have to be ready to go beyond the surface and really show our expertise.
Right.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can really help you prepare for those kinds of follow-ups. You can practice answering questions about projects, skills, and get personalized feedback.
Yeah. It's like having an interview coach right there in your pocket.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to question number two. How do you stay up to date with the latest textile trends and technologies?
All right.
This one feels like it's all about showing your commitment to learning, to staying ahead of the curve.
Right. The textile industry is always evolving. Employers want to see that you're passionate about keeping up with innovation.
So how do we answer this in a way that's more than just, I read industry magazines?
You have to be specific. Mention those publications, those websites, those organizations that you follow, conferences you attended, or courses you've taken. But don't just drop names. Explain what you learned and how you've used that knowledge in your work.
So for example, I could say, I subscribe to Textile World magazine, and I recently read about the development of new bio-based fibers. It's fascinating how these could reduce the impact of textile production on the environment. I'm actually researching how to use them in our upcoming line.
Perfect. You've shown you're not only aware of the trends, but also thinking about how to apply them.
And I can see how RoleCatcher's AI would help tailor this answer to a specific job.
Exactly. It analyzes the description and suggests those relevant publications, organizations, even technologies to mention.
So our response is laser focused.
Exactly. That's the power of AI. It helps you connect all the dots and present yourself as the ideal candidate.
Okay, let's move on to question number three. How do you approach product testing and quality control? This feels like it's all about showing our attention to detail, our commitment to high standards.
Yeah, it's about showing that you understand the importance of quality control every step of the way, from the raw materials to the finished product.
So they want to see that we have a system for testing, that we understand the different types of tests, and that we can use the results to make informed decisions.
Right.
So how do we structure our response to hit all of these points?
Start by outlining your general approach to quality control. Do you try to identify and address issues early on? Or do you focus on testing after production?
So I could say something like, I take a proactive approach to quality control. I implement testing throughout the entire process, from raw material selection to final inspection. This allows us to catch and address issues early on, reduce rework, and ensure we deliver a product that meets our customers' expectations.
Right, that's a good start. But to impress them, provide a specific example of when you implemented a testing procedure or identified and resolved a quality issue. Really bring it to life.
Okay, for instance, I could say, in my previous role, we were developing flame-retardant fabrics. During our testing, we found out the fabric wasn't meeting the standards. So I worked with a textile chemist, analyzed the data, and found the root cause. A chemical in the finishing was blocking the flame-retardant properties. We adjusted a formula, retested, and achieved the desired level of flame retardancy without affecting the fabric's other characteristics.
That's a great example. You've shown you understand testing, you can analyze, and you can work together to solve problems.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI can help refine this answer, right?
Absolutely.
It could suggest specific testing methods, quality control standards that are relevant to the job, making our response even more impactful.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to question number 4. Can you describe your experience working with suppliers and manufacturers?
Okay.
It feels like this one is about collaboration, communication, all those relationships in the world of textile production.
Yeah. They want to see that you understand how important it is to build strong relationships with suppliers and manufacturers, that you can clearly communicate your design vision, and that you can manage timelines and expectations for a smooth production process.
So how do we show all that?
Talk about the types of suppliers and manufacturers you've worked with. Talk about your experience with sourcing raw materials, negotiating contracts, managing production schedules, anything like that.
Okay, so I could say, in my previous role, I worked closely with suppliers, both in the US and internationally. I was responsible for negotiating prices and deliveries, making sure the materials were good, and fixing any technical problems that came up.
Okay, that's a good base. Now, to bring it to life, add a specific example where you worked with a supplier to get something good done.
Okay, let's see. We were working on a project that needed a very specific fabric with a very unique weave. I worked with the mill to come up with a custom weaving pattern that met our specs. We went through several rounds of samples and testing, and I provided guidance throughout the process. And we ended up with a fabric that was even better than we expected and helped make the product launch a success.
That's great. You showed how you can collaborate and use your technical skills.
And once again, RoleCatcher's AI could be helpful here.
Yeah.
Suggest relevant suppliers, manufacturers to mention, all based on the job description.
It's all about using those AI tools to our advantage. Now, on to number 5. How do you ensure that your products meet customer needs and expectations?
This one feels like it's about being customer-centric, understanding that we're designing for real people.
Exactly. The interviewer wants to see that you get your target market, that you can gather and analyze customer feedback, and then turn it into actual product features and improvements.
Okay. So how do we show all of that in our response?
Start by outlining your methods for gathering customer insights. Do you use surveys, focus groups, user testing? Then explain how you turn this feedback into actual product improvements.
Okay. I might say, I really believe in getting feedback from customers throughout the entire process. At my last job, we used surveys, focus groups, and we even watched people in stores to see what they did. That feedback helped us make design choices and led to new features that customers really liked. Better fit, better durability, and better functionality.
Great. You've clearly shown how customer feedback and actual product changes are linked.
And again, I could see RoleCatcher's AI being really helpful in personalizing this answer, suggesting specific customer needs or preferences to talk about.
It's all about using those AI tools to our advantage.
Right. All right, question number 6. Can you give an example of a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem during the product development process?
Okay.
The challenges of textile production, right? This one feels like it's all about, problem-solving thinking on our feet and finding creative solutions.
This is a classic. It's designed to see how you handle those unexpected problems. They want to see how you think and how you stay calm under pressure.
So how do we show them those skills?
Use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, and result. Start by setting the scene. Describe the problem and the challenges.
Okay. Like this. During the development of a new moisture-wicking fabric, we had a problem with the color fading when we washed it. This was a big deal because it would affect how well the product sold and how happy the customer was.
Perfect. Now, what was your task? What were you supposed to do?
Okay, continuing the example. As the lead developer, I had to find out why the color was fading and find a fix without hurting the fabric's performance or driving up the cost.
Good. What action did you take to solve the problem?
Right, so I would say first I looked at the dye formulas and the testing procedures. When that didn't help, I got together with the textile chemist to do some more testing. We found out that a certain chemical reaction was making the dye unstable, so we adjusted the dye formula and changed the rinsing process.
You got it. And what was the outcome?
To wrap up the example, with these changes, we got the color fastness we wanted without messing with the fabric's performance or going over budget. The new line launched just fine and got great feedback from customers.
That's how you use the STAR method. You showed you can solve problems, work with others, and get good results.
That's a really helpful framework. Are there any traps we should avoid when answering this question?
Don't pick an example that doesn't show off your problem-solving skills. They want to see how you handle those tough situations, not just the everyday stuff. And be honest about the challenges. It's okay to say that you didn't know the answer right away, but show how you learned from it.
Great advice. Okay, question number 7. How do you balance design and functionality when developing textile products? It's the age-old question, right? Style versus substance.
Yeah, this question is about how you create textile products that look good, A&D work well. The interviewer wants to see if you understand the balance between the two and make design choices that benefit both.
So how do we find that perfect balance in our answer?
Begin by acknowledging that both design and functionality are important. Explain that they work together, not against each other. Then, explain how you bring both together in the development process.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. You could say, I think that good textile product development is about making sure design and functionality work together. It's not about choosing one over the other, it's about finding creative ways to improve both. Like when I was designing outdoor clothes, I had to think about how it looked, if it was stylish and trendy, but also about how breathable the fabric was, if it was water resistant, if it would last. By choosing the right materials and techniques, we made a product that looked good, A&D worked well.
That example really shows how they work together. Are there any common mistakes people make when answering this one?
Don't lean too hard towards design or our functionality. They want to see a balanced view. Also, don't just say vague things about finding the right balance. Be specific about your process and how your design choices support both how it looks and how it works.
Great advice. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, what a textile product developer does, and 7 common interview questions.
We're just getting started. Remember, practice makes perfect, and RoleCatcher's AI can help you fine-tune your answers and boost your confidence.
Absolutely. In our next part, we'll dive into even more strategies to help you stand out from the crowd. Stay tuned.
Okay, welcome back to our deep dive into textile product development.
So excited to continue this conversation. We've already talked about some tough interview questions. Now I'm ready for even more strategies, things to help our listeners really shine in that interview.
Yeah, it's not just about reciting memorized answers. It's about showing your passion, your unique skills, and connecting with the interviewer.
So where do we go from here? What else can help our listeners really stand out, from all the other candidates?
Let's go back to the idea of continuous learning. We touched on this a bit with the question about keeping up with trends, but it's worth emphasizing. Showing that you're always learning, always growing, tells them you're adaptable, forward-thinking, passionate about your work.
Right, but how do we actually show that? How do we go beyond, like, just mentioning magazines we read? How do we make it impressive?
Connect those learning experiences to real results. Instead of saying you read a journal, explain how an article gave you a new design idea, or how a webinar helped you solve a technical problem.
So instead of just saying, I read this, I could say something like, I went to a workshop on sustainable dyeing techniques, and I was fascinated by a new method that uses natural dyes from plants. Now I'm looking into how we can use that to be more eco-friendly and create a line of sustainable textiles.
Exactly. By connecting your learning to real-world stuff, you show you're not just passively taking in information, but actually using it to make things better.
Yeah, that's so true. It's not just what you know, it's how you use it, right?
Yeah.
You have to show you're a problem solver, always looking for ways to improve.
Okay. Let's switch gears and talk about something else that's really important in an interview, nonverbal communication.
Ooh, that's interesting. Body language, right?
Yeah.
But how does that apply to a textile product developer interview?
Well, think about it. It's a visual field. You're often presenting your ideas to others. So how you communicate nonverbally plays a big role in how you come across. Your passion, your creativity, even your confidence.
I see, I see. But what are some specific things our listeners should be aware of?
First, eye contact. Real, genuine eye contact. It shows that you're engaged, paying attention, and confident in what you're saying.
Right. It helps you build a connection with the interviewer.
Exactly. And then posture. Sitting or standing up straight shows you're professional and confident. It also helps you project your voice and speak more clearly.
So no slouching.
No,
What about facial expressions?
they should reflect your enthusiasm. A real smile, a nod, even a raised eyebrow at the right moment can go a long way.
It's like adding another dimension to your words.
Yeah, exactly. And practice makes perfect. Record yourself answering questions and pay attention to how you're coming across nonverbally.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI video practice tool comes in, right?
Exactly.
You can record your answers, and their AI analyzes your body language, your facial expressions, even your tone of voice.
Like a virtual mirror.
Hmm.
It helps you see yourself the way the interviewer sees you.
Such great advice.
Hmm.
It's not just about what you say, but how you say it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else?
Let's talk about storytelling. Those questions about your experience, your problem solving, your approach to design, think of them as chances to tell stories that really engage the interviewer.
Okay, I love stories, but how do we make sure they're relevant and impactful?
Think about the main message you want to get across. What skills or experiences do you want to highlight? Then choose stories that illustrate those messages.
So instead of just listing my job duties, I could tell a story about a time I worked on a team to develop a new textile, something that had to meet a specific performance need. That would show my teamwork and problem-solving skills.
Exactly. Stories help the interviewer connect with you. They make your qualifications more memorable and they prove your skills. It's more engaging than just stating facts.
Wow, storytelling is a really powerful technique. I'm already thinking about some stories I could tell.
Good. Just remember to keep them short and to the point. Don't ramble. Practice telling them out loud to make sure they flow nicely.
Yeah, practicing would definitely help.
It will. And another tip. Don't be afraid to let your personality come through.
Authenticity.
Yeah. Show your passion.
Okay. What other interview prep should we cover?
Research. Before any interview, you have to research the company and the specific job you're going for.
Okay.
It shows you're interested and you've taken the time to understand their business.
Yeah, I get it, but how do I go deeper than just their website? What kind of research really impresses them?
Look for news articles, industry reports, social media posts, anything that gives you insight into what they're working on, their challenges, their future plans. Pay attention to their company culture, what they stand for.
I can see how that level of research would help me tailor my answers and ask insightful questions during the interview.
Exactly. It shows that you've done your homework and you're truly interested in being part of their team. It also helps you connect your skills and experience to what they need.
This is such great advice. Okay, what about asking questions during the interview? What kind of questions should we ask?
Don't ask those general questions that could be for any company. Ask thoughtful questions, ones that show you understand their business and are genuinely interested in the role.
So instead of asking about work-life balance, I could ask about a specific project that I read about during my research.
Exactly. Or you could ask about how they approach sustainability, or their plans for the future, or the biggest challenges they're facing. It's not just about asking questions, it's about asking the right ones. Ones that get a conversation going and leave a good impression.
Right, it's a two-way street, right?
Exactly.
This has been so valuable. We've gone way beyond the typical interview advice and really gotten into what it takes to stand out.
I'm glad you found it helpful. Remember, confidence, preparation, and a real passion for what you do are what matters most.
Oh, and don't forget RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Right.
They can really take your prep to a whole new level.
Absolutely. They're essential in today's competitive world.
Well, this brings us to the end of part 2.
Okay.
I'm excited for part 3. What's next?
Next time, we're going visual. We'll talk about creating a great portfolio and a resume that really shows off your skills and experience. It's all about those finishing touches that help you land that dream job.
I can't wait. See you next time. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into textile product development.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've talked about interview questions, body language, telling stories, research, so much. But there's one big thing we haven't gotten to yet.
You mean how you show off your skills visually?
Exactly, the portfolio.
Ah, yes, it's where your creativity really shines. You can show off your design style and how you take ideas and make them real.
Okay, I'm ready. What makes a textile product development portfolio really stand out?
It's like a story, but with visuals. You want to choose your best work, the pieces that show off your skills and how you can take an idea and make it a reality.
So what kind of projects should be in there?
Start with great pictures of your designs and products. Fabric swatches, sketches, computer renderings, even photos of clothes or products that use your textiles.
I'm imagining beautiful layouts of fabric sketches, close-ups of textures and weaves.
Exactly. You want to give them something exciting to look at, something that shows how much you can do.
What about showing your process, like mood boards or different versions of a design?
Definitely. Showing your process helps them understand how you think, how you solve problems. It shows that you didn't just magically arrive at the finished product, but that you thought it through carefully.
It's like letting them peek behind the scenes.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to include projects that were challenging or maybe didn't turn out exactly how you planned.
Really? Why would I show something that wasn't perfect?
Because it shows that you can bounce back, that you can solve problems, and that you learn from your mistakes. Explain the challenges, the choices you made, and what you learned.
Oh, okay. It's about turning those tough moments into something valuable.
Right. It shows you're not afraid to take risks and that you can adapt and grow.
I like that. Okay, now let's talk about the other important document, the resume.
Right.
It feels like resumes have been around forever.
But these days, you have to be strategic to make yours stand out. That's where AI can help.
Like those AI resume builders.
Yeah. RoleCatcher's AI, for instance, can look at the job description and suggest keywords, skills, and experiences that you should include.
It's like having a personal assistant who knows exactly what the employers are looking for.
Exactly. This helps your resume match what they want, so it's more likely to get noticed.
So it's not just about what I've done, it's about how I present it, tailored to that specific job.
Right. And remember to focus on what you achieved, the results you got. Don't just list your duties. Use action verbs and real examples to show what you brought to the table.
Okay, so instead of responsible for fabric development, I'd say, developed a new line of high-performance fabrics that increased sales by 15% and cut production costs by 10%.
Perfect. Those numbers make your accomplishments more real and show how you made a difference. And don't forget about how it looks. Make your resume visually appealing, easy to read. Use formatting, bullet points, and clear language to highlight the important stuff.
Like we're creating a visual masterpiece.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here are some final thoughts. The textile industry is always changing, always growing. It's a world full of innovation, creativity, and possibilities. Embrace the challenges, stay curious, and keep learning. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI tools are here to help you every step of the way.
This has been amazing. We've covered so much, from the technical stuff to how to ace the interview. I'm feeling inspired.
That's great. Just remember, confidence, preparation, and a real passion for this field are what matter most. Go out there and make your mark.
And don't forget to check out all the resources that RoleCatcher has to offer. They can really help you get that dream job and start a great career in this exciting world.
Until next time.